I don't even know who I am. This was yelled out while I was working at a soup kitchen when I was just a novice. It was yelled by a man who you couldn't quite tell how old he was. He'd lived a hard life, could have been in his 30s or 40s or maybe even 50s. He had a lot of poorly done tattoos. He was often aggressive, and he was the kind of guy that if he was walking towards you on the same side of the street, you'd be tempted to cross to the other side. He was the kind of guy that I, at least, found very unsettling. And on that same day where he yelled, "I don't even know who I am," he got in line to use the restroom. Now, the restroom was right behind the counter where we actually served the food, and I was the one serving food at this moment. And he walked up to me and reached under my scapular, the front part of my habit, and he grabbed the crucifix of my rosary and he said, "What is this called?" And bewildered, I said, "It's a rosary. It's a way to pray a set of Catholic prayers." And he looked down at the crucifix, holding it in his hand, and he said, "I love this guy. He's gotten me through a lot." And then he bowed down and put his forehead on the corpus of the cross. That day, he blessed my crucifix. He blessed my rosary in a way that few consecrated hands could. He blessed my rosary with the experience of knowing Jesus in his suffering and in his pain. See, I'm not as comfortable as I would like to be when it comes to praying through the Passion. I'm comfortable with the Nativity, though it was a hard time for the Holy Family. It's an easy story to put myself into and pray with. And as a deacon who's about to be ordained a priest, when I think of Jesus' ministry as teacher, preacher, healer, I can identify with that. And I can even look past the crucifix to the cosmic Christ, to speculating about the second person of the Holy Trinity, co-equal and co-eternal, but to stare at the crucified one, to stare at him and pray with him is not easy for me. What that man taught me that day and continues to teach me is that the crucified one is our companion. The cross is not just a part of the story, but the key. When we think of Jesus, we know that he is the one who, because of his suffering, because of his death on the cross, he knows our pains, he knows our woes, he knows our sorrows. And brothers, we don't have to look very far right now to see that suffering, to see that pain. And so as we enter into Holy Week, let us look for the crucified one in the world and bring him into our prayer. Let's look for the crucified one among those who are sick and dying, those who are alone. Let us look for the crucified one and the doctors and nurses who are putting their lives at risk, who go into work full of fear. Let us look for the crucified one and the prisoner and the homeless and those who have no health care and don't know what to do. And let us look for the crucified one, the suffering among one another, with our anxieties small and large, our fear of the unknown future. Let us see and preach Jesus Christ crucified, in how we treat one another, and in how we pray. When that man walked in and yelled, "I don't know who I am," I'm sure I shrugged it off and thought something like, "I don't know either, buddy." But after he blessed my rosary, I realized that standing before me was the crucified one, Christ in his distressing disguise. And so as we move into Holy Week, let us look for the crucified one. Yes, let us bow our heads in prayer, but let us keep our eyes on the cross of Jesus Christ.